So this is Honest Thoughts. This is Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. This fight might be crazier than people think. This fight, Canelo Alvarez might go down in history as one of the best Mexican boxers, and I don't know if Billy Joe Saunders is going to be like just a blip on that radar, but I think he's going to give Canelo way more problems than people are expecting. The thing about Canelo, every fighter has like a style that just is their like antithesis, the style that theirs just doesn't match up well against. Styles make fights. And Canelo's is, a weird one. A lot of people think of Styles as like, this is the way you fight. Like Julio Cesar Chavez is a pressure fighter and he throws a lot of punches, but it's more like you're starting your career and you're a boxer, but then you have these neither natural attributes or things that you work on, and they're layers on top of your game. So, a puncher is an easy one. You can be a puncher, that's a natural attribute, you hit hard. But then you can realize, like, oh man, I need to cut off angles, I need to pressure people, I don't do well backwards. That's the difference between David Lemieux and like Golovkin. Golovkin's a puncher and a pressure fighter and a volume puncher. These are all layers on his game. Where David Lemieux, he's a puncher. He doesn't really intelligently push you backwards. He doesn't really do anything fancy. He's a boxer that hits hard, and he's got a good counter left hook, and some other good things that makes him, top tier. He's a top tier puncher, but he doesn't have those other things. Like, you can't call him like a true boxer with like, he's not fleet-footed, he doesn't have good footwork. Now, Canelo, you can call him a lot. You can call him a counter puncher, you can call him a puncher, you can call him a pressure fighter. One thing he's not is a volume puncher, and he's not fleet-footed. You're better off calling Canelo the things that he's not. And he is fast, especially fast hands. He's got fast reflexes. His pull counter, his slips, his rolls are all fast. His hands are fast, but he's not like quick, the way Mayweather's quick, or the way Sugar Ray Leonard is quick, or Muhammad Ali was quick. He's fast, but he's not whatever that intangible quickness is. The reason that's interesting is because the fights Canelo has had problems with are fights with fleet-footed quickness. Laura, Mayweather's obviously. I think he had much more problems against Mayweather, at that stage of his career, but he has not developed the tools to counter that style that's hard for him. He's great defensively, he's a great pressure fighter, he's a great puncher. But when you're fighting a guy that's real fucking fast and that moves a lot, Golovkin didn't move a lot, Kovalev is too old to move a lot. Danny Jacobs is interesting. He has the physical attributes to counter Canelo. He's tall, he's got moderately quick hands, and he's got good quick feet. They're not, they're both moderate. Neither of them are, of those attributes are, extraordinary. But he has a lot of the physical attributes to beat Canelo. I think he just didn't have a lot of like the craft and like the rhythm manipulation to bop bop land the jab. Oh, you thought I was gonna throw it, now drop the right hand, that kind of stuff. I think Billy does, especially in his showing against Chris Eubank Jr. Billy Joe Saunders isn't super consistent, and I haven't watched tons and tons and tons of those fights, but like, can handle a puncher, can handle David Lemieux, can handle Chris Eubank Jr. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about styles. Canelo doesn't move his feet a lot. He walks you down. He doesn't even really cut you off. He just walks you down. Once you get against the ropes, you're kind of fucked. But Billy Joe Saunders is the fighter that can stay off the ropes constantly. You know, like Pacquiao did against Oscar De La Hoya. As soon as his backs hit the rope, and it's something they worked on. You know, it's all down to training. As soon as Pacquiao hit the ropes, he was off of there immediately. He immediately, you know, he went to DEFCON 1, moved his feet, circled back around the center of the ring, split Oscar's jab, and I think Billy Joe Saunders can do a lot of those same things as a southpaw. I think Billy Joe Saunders is a southpaw. No, he's not. I'm wrong. Either way, whether he is or not, kind of irrelevant. But a southpaw does give Canelo a lot of problems, also. And Canelo doesn't have a lot of tools to close the distance quickly. He literally walks you down, or he lets you walk him down and counterpunch. He's very much a mid-range fighter. And Billy Joe Saunders is very much a long-range fighter. He's okay with just landing a jab. You know, he'll shuck and jive and move in, pop you, just to land the jab, and then he's gone. And then, you know, once you start to get frustrated, boom, maybe he drops the right hand. Boom, maybe as you're coming in, he'll circle out and throw that left hook. You know, it just depends on your game plans to try to counter his game plans. Canelo's like very similar. You know, some guys like Kovalev, touch, not commit on anything, not allow Canelo to counter. You know, and Canelo eventually worked his way around those problems. You know, started countering that jab with a left hook, you know, and just eating punches and ever slightly closing that distance to where now every round the fight is in that mid-range space, longer and longer and longer. You know, and when Kovalev tries to exit, once he's closer to the ropes, you know, if he exits left hook to the body, exits right hook to the body. You know, sometimes left hook upstairs, which is what Kovalev kept getting caught with. You know, he goes to exit right, and maybe it's downstairs, maybe it's upstairs, maybe it's downstairs, and he kept getting hit with that left hook. And then once Canelo started to land that, it was a problem. That left hook's a problem. And that could be a problem for Billy Joe, too, that exiting. Once Canelo works his way in a couple of rounds, like with Kovalev, I know I just said Billy Joe would give him problems, but this is like the counter strategy. Saunders needs something for when Canelo eventually closes that distance, works you on the way of the ropes, and catches you on that exit. You know, when Billy moves right, I don't know if he should catch and counter, expect that left hook, counter with his own. Maybe not a great idea. Depending on that unpredictability of where that left hook's going to land. It's a good idea moving out right, eat that right hook to the body. Generally, Canelo doesn't throw it up top, and he counter with his own right, maybe left, depending on how he wants to throw that punch. You know, Billy Joe's going to need to come up with counters to his opponent's counter strategy. You know, and I don't know if Billy Joe has the craft to do that, because one of the things Canelo's best at is exploiting that defense. Canelo has fantastic defense, but his best attribute is exploiting your defense. He's going to find the holes, he's going to find the cracks, he's going to make those cracks bigger, he's going to shove a hard jab in your face. You're not going to be able to hit him with your jab. You know, he's using his defense to facilitate his offense. And at the end of the day, either Billy Joe's going to win a real boring-ass decision, which is hard to win a decision against Canelo because he hits so hard, or Billy Joe might get caught with a counter left hook over and over again and eventually go down, you know, or at least lose a close decision. But this fight might be either boring or real action-packed, because Canelo's shown he's got the physicality and the technique to just, you know, power through you. I think when the commentators said like a buzzsaw, and turn into a war. You know, is prepared to turn into a war against Golovkin, which is much more dangerous. But I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think Canelo is the type of fighter. I think if Canelo used that strategy, Billy Joe is the type of fighter to exploit that, box your face off, and get away from your engagements, and circle out and catch you, or catch you on the way in and circle out. So it might be a much slower pace fight than we think. Definitely Canelo has the advantage. I think he's got the technique advantage and the power and physical advantage. But we're going to see. We're going to see if Canelo rises to greatness, or if he's always going to have the same problem, and, you know, this is going to create the blueprint for beating him in his career. But that's most of my thoughts on that. Definitely would bet on Canelo if I bet, but not by a whole lot. I think it's going to be closer than people think. I don't think it's going to be knockdowns. I think it's going to be another Danny Jacobs-esque decision. So that's it.